A man is stabbed to death on a metro train. It is the first murder ever on the Red Line since it opened nearly 2 decades ago. The man with the knife still on the loose this morning. Grocery workers at 3 major chains casting their ballots for a possible strike. The pickets could go up as early as next week. The state's jobless rate goes up as hope for California's unemployed heads down. You're watching Eyewitness News for Saturday morning, August 20th.
Live from ABC 7, this is Eyewitness News in high definition.
Good morning, I'm Sid Garcia, and thank you for waking up with us today. We'll get to those top stories in just a moment, but first, a quick check of your weather with meteorologist Jennifer Robbins.
Thanks, Sid.
Jennifer, thank you. An investigation is underway after a deadly stabbing on the Metro Red Line. It happened on board a train near the Hollywood and Vine station. Eyewitness News reporter Amy Powell spoke with one of the eyewitnesses.
Sheriff's deputies swarm around the metro station at Hollywood and Vine beneath the glitzy W Hotel. A man was fatally stabbed on one of the subway trains around 7:30. A passenger says a scuffle broke out between a man who appeared to be drunk and a man with a skateboard.
The guy who was bleeding, ultimately, he pulled out like a chain and he's like, wanting to hit this guy, and that guy's kind of blocking it with the skateboard, and you can see him coming together, and the guy's very intent on hitting with the chain.
According to the witness, as the commotion escalated, the man swinging the chain suddenly fell to the ground.
They kind of came together, and I don't know if he stabbed him or somebody said the guy pushed him and he fell on like a bicycle pedal. I don't know what caused the bleeding.
Witnesses say the wounded man was bleeding heavily, and some passengers attempted to assist him. The man with the skateboard took off.
Kind of saying, I didn't really do nothing, it was self-defense,
Amy Powell, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Now, the Red Line station at Hollywood and Vine is closed right now as the investigation continues. If you have any information on the stabbing, call the LA County Sheriff's West Hollywood station at area code 323-890-5500. Now, the woman believed to have driven the getaway car in the Dodger Stadium beating case will not be charged in the attack. This is exclusive video of Doreen Sanchez outside the courthouse in downtown LA, where she officially learned she will not face criminal charges. Her brother, Luis Sanchez, and her boyfriend, Marvin Norwood, are facing charges in the brutal beating of San Francisco Giants fan Brian Stowe. Doreen Sanchez and her attorney spoke exclusively to Eyewitness News.
It's bittersweet, but a sign of relief.
They gave her a slip of paper that the case was rejected by the district attorney's office, and that's about the end of it, really, at this point.
It's unclear whether Sanchez will be called as a witness for either side in the upcoming trial. There is more legal trouble for Fullerton police. The department's facing a federal lawsuit charging civil rights violations and a cover-up. The suit's been filed by Beth Mom, who shot video of a friend's arrest last October. Mom says an officer knocked his camera away and threw him to the ground. He was arrested for assaulting an officer, but later acquitted. Mom's attorney claims the Fullerton officers named in the lawsuit wrote false reports about the incident.
The officers sat down and wrote reports. They conspired to write reports that would jibe with one another report, but does not jibe with the videotape.
Once they grabbed me down and just slammed me around, I was scared. What can I do?
Mom's attorney also alleges that one of the officers involved in the incident was also involved in last month's confrontation with Kelly Thomas, who died after a violent struggle with police. Fullerton police say they can't comment on the pending litigation, but the acting chief has ordered an internal investigation. The LA County Sheriff's Department is the focus of a federal probe over charges that deputies are harassing minorities in 2 Antelope Valley cities. The Department of Justice says it's investigating reports that deputies conduct warrantless searches of blacks and Latinos in subsidized housing in Palmdale and Lancaster. There are also charges that housing officials accompany deputies on searches of Section 8 projects. Sheriff Lee Baca says he welcomes the investigation and will act swiftly if there's any evidence of racism. Police are looking for clues this morning after masked men targeted jewelry merchant making off with about $2 million worth of diamonds. The theft took place late Thursday night near the intersection of Bel Air Avenue and Burbank Boulevard in Valley Village. According to police, the merchant says he was driving home when he was rear-ended. Then another car pulled in front to block his escape, and 5 to 6 men wearing masks smashed in a window and took a backpack containing the diamonds. A potential suspect vehicle was located and is being checked for fingerprints. A brazen robber hits 3 different Orange County banks within 90 minutes. Now he's being called the triple threat bandit. Police say the man seen in these surveillance pictures first hit an Orange County credit union in Fullerton, then a Union Yes Federal Credit Union in Orange, then a U.S. Bank in Buena Park. The 3 robberies were all conducted in an hour-and-a-half span starting at 9:30 yesterday morning. If you recognize the man from these photos, you're urged to call the FBI at 888-CAN-HIGH. That's 888-226-8443. A strike authorization vote by union grocery workers is expected to wrap up this afternoon. Thousands of grocery workers are voting on whether to approve a more costly health care plan from Ralph's, Albertsons, and Vaughn's supermarkets, or give their union the power to call a walkout. If a strike is authorized, union workers could begin a strike by the middle of next week. Some shoppers say if a strike does happen, it could change their shopping habits.
I was raised union and very union supportive.
To be honest, I'd probably cross.
I would probably honor that and peel off to a different place. Wouldn't be that hard. Trader Joe's is right around the corner.
The union did authorize a strike in April, but it never happened as a new proposal was put on the table. Union workers say they are hopeful a strike can be avoided again this time. Unemployment numbers for July are out, and the news is tough for California. The unemployment rate has jumped again, and it could get worse before it gets better. Eyewitness News reporter Leslie Miller reports on the numbers and has reaction.
It's the latest blow to California's economic recovery. The state's unemployment rate inched up again for the 2nd month in a row. The news is concerning even for those who have a job. Robert Bustos works for the city of Los Angeles and is one of many employees who've been furloughed.
For me, that represents a 10% reduction in my income. And I have a lot of friends who have, lost their jobs and have been out of work for over a year.
The state's unemployment rate for July jumped to 12%. That's up from June, where it was at 11.8%. A year ago, it was even higher at 12.4%.
Thankfully, we're lucky enough to have jobs right now, but I think for those who've been unemployed, particularly those who've been unemployed for a long time, it's got to be really scary out there.
The Employment Development Department says the trend of job growth continued, and that's the number that counts more. Companies added 190,000 jobs over the last year. Unfortunately, the recovery shows a tale of 2 Californias. Only parts of the state are seeing jobs, and only in certain areas.
Especially in the Southern California region, where information is and motion pictures and so forth, and in the Silicon Valley region, where we see computer software designs and telecommunications.
One of the hardest hit areas anywhere in the country is the Inland Empire, where the unemployment rate is now at 14.7%. Mark Annis is an out-of-work emergency manager.
I thought it was going to be relatively simple with my background. I'd be able to find a job out here. But not so much.
Labor Secretary Hilda Solis tells Eyewitness News her department's primary focus now is job creation.
Every hour that we spend is going to be about helping people get trained up, to know where those jobs are, to do a better job of connecting businesses, industry, with employees.
Leslie Miller, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
It was another volatile day on Wall Street. That sent stocks tumbling over renewed fears the U.S. is heading toward recession. After rising briefly in early trading, the Dow Jones Industrials fell more than 172 points to close at 10,817. The Nasdaq lost 38 points. Bank of America is laying off more workers. The nation's largest bank plans to cut 3,500 jobs by the end of next month. The cuts follow a string of other layoffs, including 2,500 announced earlier this year. After this round, B of A should have about 284,000 employees. Its roster peaked in early 2009 after it absorbed Merrill Lynch. Well, love is in the air, and when Eyewitness News returns, we'll give you just 2 examples. We have the latest pictures as reality star Kim Kardashian gets ready to tie the knot with her NBA star fiancé. We also have the story of a soldier just returned from Afghanistan who makes a very big decision as he gets home. And as we take a look outside this morning, our Long Beach cam, kind of cloudy outside. Jennifer Robbins will let us know if the cool summer will continue. Eyewitness News continues after this break.